Thank you. Related to that, also very important, particularly to the Tamil community, is the Human Rights Act.
Yeah.
The Conservative government said they're going to get rid of the Human Rights Act, which is also a
It's
concern.
a step backwards.
It's a step backwards.
Yeah.
Particularly the Tamil community, where campaigning on the human rights, the atrocities that went on in Sri Lanka. So it's linked to here what we have human rights, but also in Sri Lanka what is human rights.
Yeah.
So what you say here, but also I'd like to say, I'd like to listen to you about what would you do in your government if you know that when you're in power that the Sri Lankan government is abusing human rights and freedom of press is not respected and so on. What kind of concrete action?
Okay, the most important thing is to ensure that we secure the human rights legislation in this country and it is not undermined. That's the most important thing for us in terms of protecting human rights here. And there are some worrying concerns that we have about what the Conservatives are planning to do with regard to undermining human rights, particularly with regard to Brexit as well. So what we want to do is secure the legislation in this country. That's the first thing. The second thing is that, look, Jeremy Corbyn and I have taken an interest in what's happening in Sri Lanka to the Tamil community over years. We've been involved, demonstrations, representations, taking up individual cases. And I just give the example of what's happening at the moment. We've seen protests in recent months about what's happening in terms of Tamils, in terms of still the disappeared, families that have disappeared, and I've had constituents who've gone back to Sri Lanka and disappeared as well. So there's real worries there. We've had concerns about the removal of land from people and not being able to get access to their homes again. And also remember, there's a real concern. In the recent newspapers, we've seen that there's something like for every 5 Tamils there's 1 soldier. Now that sort of concerns that we have about the status of Tamils within their own country, we've been taking up continuously. The worry also is that the investigation of the war crimes that went on is dragging on another 2 years extension of the work that they're doing. I think that's unacceptable. As a government, a Labour government will always uphold the human rights as part of central to its foreign policies. And what we'll make sure that we do is expose what happens in terms of abuse of human rights, put pressure on those governments that are, make sure we raise this issue through United Nations, but also we'll make sure that, one, we do not trade in terms of military regimes, we do not trade arms, or we do not give them material assistance.
So if you know that there is an abuse and all these things taking place, you will not do that?
We won't, no. Well, we've made that clear in our campaigns, for example, with regard to Saudi Arabia and exposing what's happened on there. What we want to do is make sure the Sri Lankan government abides by its human rights commitments, and we'll do all we can to do that. We've campaigned as backbenchers, as just ordinary MPs, and we'll continue to do that when we go into government.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thanks.